To a town hall meeting. This is important because democracy is a participatory sport and it doesn't work unless the citizens of America participate. Today I put together a little certificate of recognition for Trent Taylor, who will be attending the Naval Academy in Annapolis. I want to congratulate you. And one other privilege I have is I get to have flags flown over the United States Capitol, and that's kind of a neat thing. And so as you go off to the Naval Academy, I'd like to present to you this flag and this certificate, and I guess say anchors away.
Yeah.
Christina Harris has been nominated and accepted to go to the United States Military Academy at West Point.
Yeah.
I got it. Whether you like the job I'm doing or not, whether you have supported me or not, it is still my privilege to represent you in the United States House of Representatives. I believe there are some worrisome trends in our nation that we have to deal with, and not the least of which is a federal government that I think has grown too big, too expensive, too intrusive, frankly too arrogant. I'm trying to make sure the economy is more prosperous and fair for hardworking people in Kaufman County. I am desperately trying to ensure that we are a nation that lives within our means. I am desperately trying to ensure that the traditional checks and balances within our governmental system to limit government, that we renew, reinvigorate, and respect those checks and balances that have been eroded, and that ultimately I want to work for an America where you're only bound by the size of your dreams. But anyway, I didn't really come here to speak as much as I came here to listen.
The question that we hear down here is, it looks like the administration is going against the Constitution. And the cry is, why don't those Republicans do something?
I respect the process that elected Barack Obama twice, but I have very little in common with the president, and I think that the president he may have a pen and he may have a telephone, but he doesn't seem to have a copy of the Constitution, or if he has, he doesn't read it or he doesn't understand it. And I don't know any other way to put it. I think you'd probably have to go back to Nixon before you could find a more lawless president in my lifetime. I don't think it is within the Constitution. I think if the Constitution was properly interpreted, we would not have this anchor baby situation. Pending that, I support the idea of having legislation to properly ensure that at least one parent is a United States citizen in order to garner citizenship. Probably not going to go anywhere as long as Barack Obama is president and Harry Reid is Senate Majority Leader. But I do think it has to be addressed. And I want to make it very clear, I am pro-immigrant. I think some of the best Americans I know were not born in America. And the reason they're great Americans is because many of them have known something other than freedom and opportunity. And because of that, many of them treasure our birthright even more than those of us who were born on native soil.
Nancy Pelosi, Democratic colleague, tweeted that the recent budget put out by the House benefits the rich by giving them $200,000 in tax breaks, paid for by people of color. And then she also went on to say that in that budget, apparently 50% of the people of color that she was talking about are on some sort of food stamps or assistance, and that this budget wants to take it away from them. And she's consistently doing that lately, touting the Republican Party as racist. Yet I hear nothing from the Republican side countering anything she is saying.
There are some comments that are not worth dignifying. And I think increasingly the American people have put up with that. I don't think they buy into that And I got to tell you also, we in this country have tried Nancy Pelosi's way, which in some respects was the LBJ way. You may recall it was, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, we had the 50th anniversary of the war on poverty. Apparently poverty is still winning. Because after 50 years and trillions of dollars, we have the same poverty rate in America than when the whole program started.
More.
And it seems to me that if you really care about your fellow citizen, you want to make them independent, not dependent.
Legally, you can get all this stuff, but if you do it right,
You're right.
and especially if you're Asian, if you start looking at they've realized that the Asians don't do a lot of the government subsidy stuff, and so they don't want to keep them here. But as long as they can keep them on the government dollar, they want them to stay here. She tried ESL classes over there at Coffin High School. When you go to that class, everything, they're teaching them English, but they're using how to get on the government dime as their English lessons. And I mean, it's like they're trying to get people, and she told me, says, they just show me how to get free things from the government. And this is the ESL classes that you go to.
Ways, and thank you for trying to do this the legal fashion, and too often we punish those who do it legally and reward those who do it illegally, and that is wrong, it's unfair.
There's 86 million Americans that are working, middle-class people working and earning a wage. And they're supporting 146 million that are on welfare and government support. How long can our country continue to do this?
Who are receiving some kind of assistance. Some of that assistance is earned or partially earned, and a lot of it isn't. It's just a mere transfer payment, wealth transfer. So my political mentor is former Senator Phil Graham, who famously said, when you have more people riding in the wagon than pulling the wagon doesn't go anymore. And there are days I fear that we are getting close to that, but
our military and past employee of the National Security Agency. I am very concerned about the limits that the Obama administration is trying to put on our ability to protect Americans. The attack on the embassy overseas is a classic example of, we had intelligence that said that was going to happen, and I think the administration dropped the ball, and I think the Secretary of State should have been put in jail over the handling of that. I'm really worried about we're going too far to the left on granting our military the ability to keep another 9/11 from happening. What do you see from that in Washington, D.C.?
well, again, there are some disconcerting trends here. First, let's just talk about the military budget in general. Very transparent. I did not serve my nation in uniform. I salute those who did. My grandfather did, my father did, my brother did. And I want my 10-year-old and 12-year-old to remain in a safe, free, secure America. But part of this, Danny, is this budget, as this automatic spending increases, it's squeezing our defense budget, and currently we are on a trajectory in the not too distant future to have the smallest army since World War II, the smallest Navy since World War I, and the smallest Air Force ever. And so I am so heartened to see these young people who want to be a part of the military, because regrettably, I'm seeing some exits of some very good people who are getting frustrated by the lack of resources and frankly, kind of a political correctness, if you will, that has been infused in parts of the military. So we have a very worrisome trend there, and I think the President has oversteered us with respect to the resources that we have for our fighting men and women. The other question you pose is an incredibly critical question, and it goes to the heart of the matter. We all know it, and that is the balance between security and liberty. And there's not an easy answer to that question. And I got to tell you, I supported the last authorization we had for the NSA, the National Security Administration. But since then, there have been so many shoes dropped. And I gotta tell you, I go to a lot of so-called classified briefings as a member of Congress. I'm not sure I've learned anything on any of them that I hadn't already learned